sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
He came home. You should have heard him try to explain it. He's like, Dad, I had a little accident. I was like, oh, yeah? What'd you do? He's like, well, I was trying to make my friends laugh by farting, and I pooped my pants. I was like, oh, we call those sharts, son.
That is a shart. Probably don't say that at school. I don't know if
No.
that's accepted nomenclature
fuck.
anymore.
God damn it. I can't say nothing.
I know, you can't say fart and you can't say shart. And well, what do you want them to say? They're little kids. They're not going to say flatulence. They can't pronounce that.
So, in your house, I'm sure you guys cuss a little bit. Do you know who to blame by the cuss word that comes out of your children's mouth?
Not so much the word itself, but how it is said.
Context.
Yeah, or just like the little flavor in which they say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even think of that. In our house, it's the word. If it's fuck, it's definitely me. And
yeah,
he was running the other day and he hit the chair and he's like, motherfucker. Oh, hey, Dad.
That's awesome.
So that one was my fault.
Well,
was my fault.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So you told me a little bit about the show. Tell me anything I missed that when we talked today. This weekend.
The show was awesome. So we had in typical just McKinley household burning daylight fashion. It was a tad bit of a shit show, but it was less of a shit show than last year. And
I tell you, whenever McKinley's involved, you're right. It's a shit show, but it's a very entertaining shit show.
Well, and it usually works out. I mean, like for the most part, it usually works out. And so one of our main features, the Wilsons out of Oregon, Matt and Rachel Wilson, they were not unable to make it at the last minute, and so the show went from me and Sam McHugh and Eric Shields and the Wilsons to just me and Sam McHugh and Eric Shields. And Eric was coming from down in Texas, Oklahoma, down by the Panhandles, and so pretty good jaunt to Elko, Nevada. And so, not that I doubted he was coming, but I was just like, it's a long ways, a lot can happen. And yes. But he made it, and so we did our show and on Friday night, and I kept expecting more people to start rolling in, but it was just kind of a slow night, and there wasn't that many people in town. And I finally was like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna worry about who's not here. We've got, I don't know, we had probably 30, 40 people in front of us. So like, well, let's entertain these people, and we had a really good show. Like it wasn't a big crowd, but it was a really engaged crowd, and it had the room had a good feel. Like the jokes were landing, the songs were hitting like they were supposed to, and like we had just a really good show. Right around 2 hours, went over to the Star. I watched some other guys, and then we picked up another guy at the Star. I've seen him on Facebook. I've been a fan of him on.
You didn't tell me that you picked up another dude.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing?
I did. Now? I schmoozed the shit out of him. So like
that is the most McKinley thing I've ever heard. Where you have a show and you go over to another place and then recruit him to come do a show with you. That's the most McKinley thing ever.
Yeah. we did we got some comments here. We did have an online audience. Thanks to everybody that did watch in. And sorry about the Saturday. Somebody bumped the camera on Saturday, so it went a little askew, and I was getting comments, but like I don't know. I'm on stage. What are you gonna do? Sorry, man.
It surprisingly was focused in on your cock. That's weird, McKinley.
Well, I mean, God works in mysterious ways. All right? And
hey, what do you need more in your life? More shots of fucking McKinley dong. That's what you need.
Yeah. Well, so this guy, his name is Ira Grusovic, and his name. It's Polish to the max.
He sounds like an MMA fighter.
Yeah, it's just nothing but consonants, and it's like a 20-letter last name with 3 vowels. And but anyway, I was talking to somebody, and I just kind of overheard that Ira's in town. And I was like, "Oh, I'd like to see him play because I've seen his videos on Facebook, and I like he sings some really funny songs, but he can play." And so I was like, "I'd like to see him play." And I heard somewhere else that like he might not be playing anywhere. And so then I saw him at the bar, and so I went and introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, are you playing anywhere this weekend?" And he's like, "No, not at the moment." And I said, "Well, do you want to?" And he's like, maybe. So like we went through our little. I told him what I could pay him, and I had some people back out. So like, if you can't make it, no big deal. We'll be fine. But if you can make it, it'll make it for an even better show. And so yeah, and so he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then he thought I was. I told him where we were at. And there was a little bit of incommunicado as to where he thought of that, and so were
you a couple beers deep?
No. This was like, I mean, it wasn't early on in the night, but it was. I was in good shape, but I didn't know that there was another place where people play music like in between there. So we were just. It was little mixed signals. So like I told him when sound check was and everything. And then I was like, maybe he's not going to show. Maybe he left town or whatever. And then I messaged him. He's like, I'm at the bar waiting. I was like, and so I went out and I was like, I don't see him. And I was like, here at the stage door. And he's like, oh, I thought. And so then so then he ran over real quick, plugged in, did his little sound. Then we did the sound check, and then. And then the other guys just got on stage and started playing anyway. So I was like, oh shit! So I just hit go on the live stream, and we just there wasn't really much of an introduction. We just went and
jumped in like you're the fucking Who. Like, we don't need to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, and so we played a song or two, something like that, and then finally I was like, hey, this is this is who we are, and. Off to the races we went. It was a good fucking show on Saturday.
Dude, you're like the George of picking up male friends. Like, literally, you go up to somebody and then a fucking month later they're part of the crew.
Pretty well. Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, I don't usually miss on those people either. Like there's I don't know. I have this weird sense of I bet they're my people. I just looking at them I think those are my people, And it turns out
you won the jackpot. I mean, you found me.
I did find you, and that's a lovely thing. Speaking of lovely things, have you been following Canada?
Oh, so maybe this is just me. I've watched too many South Park, but when there's a piece of back of my mind when they say, the Canadian president, right? And then you know how they run a clip of the Canadian president. I'm always picturing that South Park where it was the Canadian Donald Trump. No. And then I have to read this is the real world.
Fuck you, buddy. Check my balls, guy.
Instead it's a dude who looks like he's been living in in Quebec his whole life.
Mm,
So about that, like, was there? Why did Trudeau have to go into a secure place if there's protests? Like, were they at the gates?
well, they've got Ottawa gridlock right now.
Oh no, shit!
Yeah. Okay. So, and if you you would think this, and because they're playing what Trudeau's saying, and he says this is a fringe movement. This fringe movement had a convoy 45 fucking miles long. 45 miles of trucks that were pissed off about vaccine mandates. And this wasn't just Canadian truckers, this was American truckers too. But like the bulk of the protest has been in Canada, because you have to, like, there, because it's a vaccine mandate to get back across the country, which before these truckers were exempt because they were considered essential workers, because like the pretty vast majority of foodstuffs that Canada consumes come in through the U.S. Canada border by truck, because it's a barren wasteland up in Canada. I mean,
It's nothing but like
fucking
an iron ore mountain where a
yeah,
city's built on.
and maple syrup, and there's only so much maple syrup you can consume.
There's no protein in it, is there?
No, it's maple syrup and poutine. Like, the only protein comes from the brown gravy, and so they have to import a lot of food, and they're super woke, so you can't go hunt a yak. Only the native Canadians can do that. The First Nations people can hunt a yak.
Can I just say thank you to
I
our
don't think they're
Canadian?
allowed to do anything else.
Can I just say, to our Canadian brethren, coming from a fat boy, thank you for that poutine, because it is
Yeah.
delicious and it is fun
it's
to
so
say.
good.
I'm gonna go eat some poutine.
Yeah. It is goddamn delicious. I'll
It
give
is.
them that.
God bless.
But yeah, so they and even some of the, like, the podcasts that I like, one of the podcasts I listen to, I don't necessarily agree with them on everything, but I think they do a pretty good job of reporting the news, and in particular, like, calling out the, like, your legacy type medias outlets for when they're reporting bullshit. But even them, they were like, oh, I was looking at this, and they're exaggerating. They said 50,000 trucks, which is wildly exaggerated. And most I saw a couple hundred, maybe 1,000. No, like, it's a confirmed. They broke the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest convoy ever, and it was 45 to 50 miles long. They're estimating 50,000 trucks.
Let's do a little math. So 45 miles.
Yeah.
So 45 times.
We actually did this just the other day.
God, I'm always late to the party.
No, we haven't put this on air yet. So we got
45
times 5280.
5280. Okay.
That's 237,600 feet, and
so
your average semi is anywhere between like 60 and 80 feet. So we'll just go ahead and say 70.
70.
Divided by 70. So that's, if they were single file, that would be 3,394 semi-trucks. But this wasn't just single file. Like, at one, like, what I saw, they were at least, like, side by side, doubled. So you're looking at roughly 7,000 trucks there. But and then there's spots where it's like 4 wide, and then you got pickups and cars and it's just nothing but maple leaf flags everywhere. And so then they tried to paint them as racists and white supremacists, because, I mean, apparently Canada has a bad history of white supremacy.
Is that it's instead of, like, going off to South America, did Hitler end up in Canada?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but I didn't. If they have any sort of history of that, I'm not aware of it really. But and and even Trudeau came out of his bunker because by the time this started like a week ago. They started in Vancouver and they just started picking up steam along the way. And they're talking about how it's a fringe movement, but if you watch some of the videos that are posted from the convoy itself, they're like videoing out the window, and the streets are just lined with these poor freezing Canucks waving their flags, shouting freedom,
Like
and
in the
they're
South
like,
Park, like with
yeah,
Ike out there, like support Canada.
yeah, it really is, and Trudeau, once he realized like, oh shit, they actually are coming to Ottawa, he all of a sudden made an announcement where he has come in close contact with a COVID-19 positive, and so he was going through the recommended isolation period, and and I think they were really hoping that they would come Monday that these guys would just leave. But then Monday rolled around and they hadn't left, and so then he's like, "Oh, I'm now positive I'm COVID-19 positive," and meanwhile they've raised like $10 million on GoFundMe, which the
What are they going to
organizers
spend on it?
on their truckers to occupy Ottawa until Trudeau lifts the mandates. And they've estimated they have enough funds from what they've raised so far to stay in Ottawa for 2 to 3 years.
You know what? Like Trudeau and Biden all fit in this category. It's like even though Biden's old, he's now kind of a new politician.
Mm-hmm.
Where Trudeau would have been all right, I feel like, if he says yes, almost addresses their concerns.
Instead that would probably help.
Instead of like him saying, "Oh, this is a fringe movement," and dismissing it, probably pissed him off even more.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit of humility, I would think would go a long way. But I feel like this politicians nowadays, or even the media, like Jen Psaki the other day when she made that comment on the podcast, basically brushing off, like concerns about safety, and then like not even saying a word personally, like I should have said that or I should have said it differently. No, Joe Biden was never for defund the, like not taking personal responsibility for what you said. Just and you don't have to get canceled. Just come out and say, "Yep, that was a bad choice of words," or something to that extent.
Right.
But it's impossible.
Right. Kind of like one of the doctors that they're trying to cancel Rogan over, Peter McCullough, when he was on Rogan's podcast, said pretty definitively that you could not get COVID twice. And then once this Omicron deal started sweeping through, and that became very apparent, which that was like the one thing I took away from the Rogan when he was on Rogan, where I was like, that's a pretty bold statement.
Well, and I feel like any doctor wouldn't make that statement, because if they had any, like he may be a doctor, but any regular doc would be like, well,
that's
it's
what I thought.
Like the flu, like that would be saying you can't get the flu more than twice.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so like he provided his evidence, but like even me, like I'm pretty savvy on this stuff, and I was like, that's a bold statement, like I was like, I wouldn't have said that. But then like a couple of weeks later, he came out and he said, I've changed my mind. Like I've seen the evidence of this coming through, and he's like, hey, I was wrong on that. At the time, I thought I was pretty clear, or it was pretty clear, but he said things have changed because that's how science fucking works,
And I can't remember if Joe Rogan said this or somebody else, but Joe Rogan's show may have people like that say something wrong on one occasion, but it's a show to bring all opinions on.
Right. He also had Peter Hotez, who is like one of the biggest vaccine advocates out there, and he's an epidemiologist. He had Michael Osterholm, who turned out to be one of the biggest scaremongers of the COVID deal, and he's also on Biden's task force. So like, and Rogan talked to him in the early days of the pandemic, and Okay, nobody gave him shit for that. Like there was a bunch of people who were like, I don't think I believe that guy so much. He seems like he's just freaking the fuck out. But like nobody tried to cancel Rogan over that. Neil Young wasn't pulling his music
Oh, fucking
after
Neil Young, jackass.
after selling his music and then immediately signing an exclusive streaming deal with Amazon after he pulled his music from
Fucking
Spotify.
man, Neil Young's been a fucking d-bag for years.
You know, like his music was okay, but like he was the subject of one of the biggest diss tracks in the 70s when Sweet Home Alabama came out.
Yep.
And you know, and the coolest thing about Neil Young is that Ronnie Van Zant is buried in his t-shirt. That's the coolest thing about Neil Young.
Wait, Ronnie Van Zant is buried in a Neil Young t-shirt?
Yep.
Why?
Because Ronnie Van Zant's a real American. And he's like, all right, hey, this stupid Canadian doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll let him slide. You know.
Okay,
He writes some okay music.
I'm gonna believe that's the story. That's the only way that makes it cool.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's the coolest thing about Neil Young. Name one other cool thing about him. I can't.
I can't. Have you ever seen him play live?
Mm-mm.
He's talented, but I can't. I get so distracted when he's playing because he has like his little harmonica here, and then he's got the drum set with his foot and the guitar.
Oh,
He looks like he should be on the Strip, you know.
Like he looks like
old
he's
time
part of Carrot Top's act.
Yeah, yes. Like it's only a matter of time before he pulls out his prop tissue box and does a bunch of cold jokes.
Oh, yeah, Neil Young. We'll get back to Neil Young here in just a minute, but before I wanted to, because I really wanted to give a big shout out to the Canucks because that is the most American thing that Canada has ever done is this truck convoy, and not only that they have blockaded the border crossing in Coutts, Alberta. There's about 100 trucks that just Coutts, and actually a friend of the show, maybe a Samson. I won't say his last name just in case the Canadian NSA is listening. But like, yeah, they've got over 100 trucks with and tractors and like a bunch of farmers got farm equipment, and they've got the border shut down. And the Mounties came in. And they've got all the access points blockaded and with SWAT teams. And then today they said they made the decision that they're going to start clearing the crossing, and they started calling wreckers to come move these trucks. And like all of the Alberta wrecking companies are just like, nah, we're busy.
Nah, dog.
And yeah,
nah, dog.
Exactly. So. Like Trudeau is gonna have to come out and talk here pretty soon. Like he's not gonna be able to hide from him for very long because when you're not getting shit into the country, like shelves are gonna get bare real quick, and he's gonna have to listen.
It's another instance where South Park was right. Like the economy. Watch. We'll see if there's any Canadian citizens on the block because they'll put up their sign saying support Canada.
Yeah, like I'm proud of Canada. Like I'm all about. And then like the Freedom Convoy, it was like hashtag Freedom Convoy 2022 was trending on Twitter for a little bit, and then Twitter took it off the trending list because you know they're corporate stooges, and so then. It was like Jack Posobiec and a couple other people with big followings started the hashtag honk honk, and that like within like 20 minutes it was up at like number 4 trending on Twitter, and it's just nothing but support for all these truckers, and it's been like 100% peaceful. They'll tell you like how there's a bunch of racists there, but if you try to find videos of it, there's one guy with like it's like a brand new Confederate flag with a semi on it, and he's wearing like a full ski mask. Like you can't see anything but his eyes. And they are just like escorting him out. They're just like, get the fuck out of here. No, get out. And then,
The
like,
truckers did?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And that's like the one instance they find. And I guess somebody defaced like a war memorial or something. I don't know. And then there's
They
reports.
peed on it. They peed on statues.
Is that what it was?
Which is nothing different than what they did all last summer in Kenosha, or two summers ago.
And then there's like reports that they demanded food from a food shelter, but I would imagine it's more like, hey, could you serve some meals to these protesters? And,
hey, buddy, why don't you be my friend and get me some flapjacks and maple syrup?
Poutine? Got any poutine guy? Yeah. So anyway, but like. And then, like, they shut down cell service in Ottawa, so they couldn't live stream the protest.
You're kidding?
But, no.
That's, like, bad. That's, like, China shit.
Yeah. Well, it took them... I mean, those folks are, like, shut down. They had isolation camps.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Remember we talked about that? Or was that in Australia? Where I showed you the pictures, and it's literally, and I think it was an article on, I'm guessing, a left-leaning site, but all the pictures were of women in bikinis. Like,
yeah,
that one, like if
that
I was
one was
20,
Australia.
If I was 24, I'd be like, yep, sign me up. Fucking COVID the shit out of me. Go ahead.
Fuck yeah. Do you think that's like an excuse for me to get vaccinated? Fuck no. I'm going to be unvaccinated. I'm just going to live at that camp. I'm going to slay some poon.
Australian women are good looking, so it's like, yep, sign me up. Yep.
And there's more of them than there are men.
She can fight a kangaroo and then just ravage me.
Okay, riddle me this.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a video of an Aussie riding a kangaroo?
Of a what? An Aussie?
Of an Aussie, yeah, riding a kangaroo. I haven't either. And like, why have none of you fuckers ever saddled a kangaroo?
I feel like
because you're not Americans. That's why. God damn it. You're not Spaniards. You're not Americans. You're not Mexicans. You're not any of your traditional cowboy countries, because any American, if there was kangaroos running around, somebody would have roped that fucker and put a saddle on it. I guarantee you.
If there was kangaroos in America, they would have a competition in the rodeo.
Fuck yeah, we would.
With kangaroos.
Because this is America, and this is why we're better than you, Australia. This is why we don't have quarantine camps yet. There's no way a kangaroo is going to survive up in Canada, so
no.
Yeah, that won't happen.
So my dad always told me when he was in the army, he served alongside Australians, and like it's just like everything else with your dad. When he tells you this when he first tells you when you're younger, you're like, you're full of shit, Dad. You don't know shit. And then later on, come to find out, totally right. This was one of them. He always used to say that he's like, if you go drinking with Australians, be careful. Like, they're good guys, but after a while, they just want to scrap. Even if there's like some ladies over here that are very interested in your group, or maybe you get a free bar tab, they will want to fight over those two things. I thought he was full of shit. When we went to my buddy Tim's wedding in Ireland, of course, me and Jake on the first night. It's just me, Jake, and an Australian dude. And we're drinking, we're buying beers back and forth. And he looks over, he's like, you two Yanks want to get a scrap? I'm like, what? You two want to get a scrap? And he stands up and fucking starts to puff out. I'm like, whoa. This dude wanted to fight us for fun. And the only thing I was like, dude, we're Americans, like, we only fight when we're angry. And two, if I get a black eye, Les is gonna fucking murder me for this wedding. So they finally tossed out the Aussie. But once again, Mike Ellis is right as usual.
Mm, yeah.
But his interpretation of Australians, I think, are old school because with all the quarantine zones, I don't think there's many Aussies that are fit into that I want to scrap category.
So you need to listen to the comedian Tim Dillon. He's went on several rants about how Australians, being from a former penal colony, are just programmed to want to get drunk and be locked up for the rest of their lives, and they're okay with it. They're lazy. They don't want to work, and they just want to drink and barbecue in their own backyard because their government tells them they have to. And
So they're more and less redneck than we are in the States. More redneck
yeah,
in the sense that that's all they want to do, and less in the sense that they listen to their government.
exactly. They're way less redneck in the fact that they respect authority.
Yes. like they're like the charter school redneck.
See, that is what really sets America apart from every other country on earth, from what I can tell, is like we have no respect for authority.
No,
Like if the authority doesn't make sense, we're just like fuck you,
which
fuck
is
off.
which is hilarious because I'm pretty sure all of us have immense respect for our parents or our dad. But
Yes,
anybody else, fuck you.
yeah,
You're not my
exactly.
dad.
But
It's
also, it's just like no, that makes no sense. Fuck off.
it's 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 like we're the stepchildren and the government are the stepdad. You're like, fuck you. You're not my real dad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you're in charge. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. We've got guns.
You're not my dad. Fuck you.
Oh, you got a badge. I've got a fucking gun. Okay.
The most condescending way ever.
Oh yeah, it's just like okay, okay, tough guy.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like
All
we're
right,
16
Barney Fife.
we're like 16-year-old emo kids. Just
Yeah.
brewing like, okay, conformist. Goddamn conformist.
Pretty much, and also just like rednecks with rabies at the same time too. Just like fuck you, fuck you. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, these Canadians finally found a little bit of American, and they're doing it in the most Canadian way possible, which is like it's basically the biggest
Polite.
labor. Yeah, but it's also like the biggest labor strike in the history of Canada.
Man, McKinley, I haven't seen your dick this hard for another country in a long time.
I know. I love a little civil disobedience, and that's what this is.
No shit.
See that's seeing this like I said, this is what sets Americans apart from the rest. When other countries, when they see people not doing what they're supposed to, they're like, oh, don't do that, don't, and we're just like,
Oh,
fuck yeah, don't let
maybe
the
you-
man get you down.
what do you ever hear from your Canadian listeners? What they
Yeah,
say? I'm sure I can guess what they say, but
no, they're all for it. They're just tired of like. So imagine like LA style lockdowns, except for the whole fucking country. That's basically what Canada's become. Like Quebec, they're gonna start taxing people if you're not, if you're unvaccinated. They're gonna put a health tax on you.
so I understand that that's Canada, but just the concept of something being under federal jurisdiction,
Mm-hmm.
people think about that, and then people wonder why Republicans were against that voting bill, which would make
Yeah.
all elections federal. And I don't think some of the Democrats are thinking about it because, like, what happens if there's a Republican in office? I mean, and they changed the rules.
Oh well,
Like-
and then they tried to change the filibuster too, and
Oh,
luckily Manchin and Sinema were like, no,
You know
no,
what?
no.
I know I gave Joe Manchin shit a year ago when that spending bill came through, but I got to give him this one. Just hold tight, Joe.
Yeah,
Fucking, I know you're left, but I know you're not that far left. Keep on
he's
going,
still
Joe.
he's still a corporate stooge piece of shit.
Yes.
But hey,
Yeah.
you made a good choice there. And you're lucky. I like. Well, we're lucky he's from West Virginia because it's only because he does shit like that that he will get reelected. Because that Trump or that was the state that went the most heavily for Trump in the country was West Virginia. And the fact that Manchin is still in there is like that's a miracle of modern politics.
Speaking of Democrats, can I just give like an honest shame on you?
Go for it.
So Justice Breyer is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you will, like I think he was honest, but
Yeah.
just on the side of more activism than following the exact letter, whatever.
Yeah.
But his retirement announcement was leaked. He didn't even get to come out and say he was retiring. Someone on the left leaked it, which I almost think like, were they trying to push him out sooner than what he wanted to go? Like
Well,
they can't like even for a Supreme Court justice retirement, that's like a special thing, and they couldn't even respect the man just putting out the word.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know who
Well,
leaked it, but like shame on them, man.
Well, I think what that signals is like they know they're gonna lose big in November, and so they're just trying to
Get
get
one win.
anything done. Even though like it doesn't advance their cause any, they're gonna trade out a liberal justice for another liberal justice, a black woman, because that's what we got to do nowadays. You gotta telegraph who and what category you're gonna appoint nowadays. That's a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
they well. So here's what I see is they pushed really, and they're still pushing pretty hard for this Ukraine Russia conflict because war is a good boost of approval ratings. Typically, except we just pulled out of Afghanistan, and people are a little bit tired of being involved in other people's shit. And then the Ukrainian president came out and was like, "Hey, you guys need to calm the fuck down. It is not near as bad as what you're saying. You guys are trying to start an international incident." And so it doesn't look like the Ukraine thing's going to go through. So now it's just like, we got to get something on the board. Breyer, get the fuck out.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me and you, but if they try to pull that shit with us, I'm like, fuck you. Now I'm gonna wait until the Republicans in office. You can eat shit on that.
Yeah, it's well, and then it'll be hilarious if when Mitch McConnell will talk about how it is improper to nominate a Supreme Court justice at this
right.
point in the election.
You know what? After that whole scenario, I said, okay, if you can get it through in your time, fair game. Fair game.
Yeah.
You're in power. Don't even, don't wipe off like, oh, we have to wait till elections. No. If you're in power, you get to do it. Like that's just fucking it. If you can get them nominated up until the last day, then you know what? Have the fuck at it.
Well, like you've like and Trump like threw that all out the window with with Amy Coney Barrett. She got nominated like 9 days before the election or something, and you can say all you want how it's against the norms, but it is well within the constitutional allowances for the president to nominate and the Senate to confirm a Supreme Court justice as long as that president and Congress are in office.
Yeah. Was
it in poor taste? Probably, as is most of what Trump does is in poor taste.
Fuck. After this, I got to go on a little bit of rant about Mr. Cheeto. But please continue.
Okay, I'm okay with that too. Because if there was any way where somebody could lose to Joe Biden again, it would be way Trump is pushing right now.
Like,
Like
just shut the fuck up.
on
Like,
everything. All right, so he's bashing DeSantis for not being public about whether or not he's had a booster shot. Your base does not like the vaccine, Mr. Trump. Like your base is rabidly anti everything about that vaccine. They're not a vaccine like anti-vaccine as a whole, but as far as these new vaccines, your base does not like them.
even though they created the vaccine under Trump.
Yes, but
like
yeah,
that blows my mind that the connection
well,
is never made. Like,
well, yeah, cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug.
but like,
But
he's
so then he's got that, and now he's talking about pardoning the January 6th people, which where was that? Like I don't know, on January 7th or 8th, or all the way up till you left office.
because
No,
they weren't charged yet.
You left those motherfuckers out to dry, and like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if Trump would have pushed back even a tenth of as hard against the COVID lockdown bullshit as he did against the supposed election fraud, like he would have been in office still. But
Right.
no, he didn't. There was not one lawsuit that he filed against these governors for being like tyrants, and dozens over. I mean, he had Lynn Wood, who Kyle Rittenhouse called out for basically stealing money from him when he offered to represent him. Left the kid in jail for 87 days. He made bail within like a day and a half, like raised enough money to make bail with like in a very short amount of time, and they left him in jail for 87 days. That's one of the lawyers that was filing lawsuits on behalf of Donald Trump over the election. Yeah, one of your biggest like spokesmen is a former crackhead turned pillow salesman turned election analyst.
Oh my goodness! I haven't. I saw that commercial one time where he's selling the Bible story pillows, and then I haven't seen him.
Product.
I haven't seen him since. So something tells me that may have not been a hot product.
Well, also I think, well, I don't know. I guess I don't watch TV anymore, so I couldn't tell you what the advertisements are anymore. But I did.
Oh, you missed out.
We were. I guess I watched a little bit of TV in Elko this weekend, just because I was at the hotel, and yeah, like every other ad is a pharmaceutical ad or like an annuities ad or some shit. Like it is nothing but directed towards 65 years old and up.
Or gold investment.
Investment, annuities, and dick pills.
Dick
God
pills.
bless America. Hey,
you know what?
Also have been shown to treat COVID, apparently.
What?
Yeah, dick pills and weed.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And also,
good.
Viagra has also been shown to treat dementia as well. I mean, like, what does Viagra not do?
That's what I was going to ask you. We keep on seeing these dick commercials, and how the fuck do you not put in there also been shown to improve memory? Like, why wouldn't you throw that in?
Well, nobody cares, because like the first thing, like any invention that it like ever comes up, like the human being is like, number one, can we fuck it? Number two, can we blow it up?
No, and then if it was the Aussie, can we fight it?
Can we fight it? Can we fuck it? And well, we're not allowed to have explosives, so we can't blow it up.
Can we fight it? And is it not the government?
Yeah,
Because we
exactly.
must obey.
Always obey.
Always.
Yeah, always obey. Yeah, it's been a wild ride the last couple of weeks. Like not really anything has gone on, but like a whole bunch has gone on. So Neil Young, who I guarantee you has never listened to an episode of Joe Rogan, because if he had, then like there's no way he would have that opinion of Rogan. But like they always say Rogan is spreading harmful misinformation or disinformation or whatever, and never give any concrete examples of it with like facts, saying like it's always just like, no, he's a spreader of misinformation, or he's a racist, or he's transphobic or something, and never give any examples of it.
I don't listen to the Joe Rogan show, but I know exactly what you mean because I'm kind of coming into it not a Joe Rogan fan. Like I like Joe Rogan, just don't listen to podcasts. But you're right.
Yeah.
Every time he's brought up, I never hear a specific allegation. It's almost, and every time it's almost like he has a guest on and he's asking a question or responding to a question.
Well, because Joe Rogan is doing the job of what traditional media is supposed to.
Isn't that, and a Joe Rogan, intelligent guy, but isn't that fucking sad?
It's like, really sad, and he would tell you that. He said that many times. He's said that. He's like, don't come to me. I'm an idiot, which he's not. I mean, he's like, he's an idiot the same way that we are idiots. Like we're intelligent people, but we are not serious people. Like,
right.
And that's the same way he's a comedian. He's not a serious person. He's an intelligent guy. He's one of the best interviewers out there. And a lot of it because he just lets people talk, and then but when he has a question, he'd be like, all right, so what about this? What about this? And then he usually doesn't let him like weasel out of it. Like, no, hold on, you didn't answer me. Like, what about this? He's just a good interviewer, and he's talking to these people like Robert Malone and Peter McCullough because nobody else fucking will.
Is Joe Rogan Is Joe Rogan the toughest comedian of all time?
Probably.
I would say Richard Pryor did light himself on fire.
He also got fucked by Marlon Brando, so
wait, what?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's on record.
Wait, what?
Yeah, let me
do the research and you continue.
Okay. Well, from what I've understood, like, apparently he was partying with Brando, and I don't know if he did the fucking or if he got fucked. I don't, none of my business really. But yeah, apparently that went down.
Oh. This isn't like a Richard Gere situation with the gerbil?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I've heard Richard
Pryor and Marlon Brando were lovers. Pryor's widow confirms.
There we go.
Wow. I mean, like, I'm not mad. I'm just amazed.
Yeah. Yeah. So who was the bear in that situation? It's got to be Brando, right?
It's got to be Brando.
I would think so. But I don't know. Pryor probably had that crackhead strength and speed,
like Tyrone Biggums on Dave Chappelle when he lifts the bus with his red ball.
Exactly. And that's not to talk down on Richard Pryor. That's just a pretty well known fact.
He lit himself on fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go with Pryor's probably. It's best fighter. I'd say probably Rogan. Um, but toughest, I gotta go Pryor.
Right. For how many
Yeah,
drugs that dude did, I'm shocked he lived that long.
man. God, he was funny too. God, he was
Speaking
funny.
of, you know who's amazing, who's still alive, done a ton of drugs, is fucking Ozzy Osbourne. How is that motherfucker not dead, even after all
Well,
this shit?
so I've heard on a couple different podcasts. One of the guys that did security for Ozzy, he was a former special forces guy.
Mm.
Um, but like Ozzy was religious about working out. Like he'd get on an elliptical for like 3 hours straight
Oh
and just
yeah,
like so he did all the drugs and everything, but he also, besides the drugs, took pretty good care of his body.
he went hard in the paint one way and then went hard in the
Yeah,
paint the other way.
yeah, exactly. But like one of the best memes I ever saw was it was like a black and white picture of Willie Nelson, and it said one of these like we need to start thinking about the world the world that my kids want to leave for me and Keith Richards.
Keith Richards. This may be the reason why Keith Richards can't be destroyed by conventional weapons.
That guy.
That fucking dude.
That
I feel
fucking guy.
I feel like those dudes are kind of like they're athletes of taking drugs and drinking alcohol. Because if me and you did that, even and we're not the heaviest of drinkers, but I feel like we hold our weight well. We
Yeah.
would have been dead within 5 years.
Oh,
Like
my
we're
word.
not built for it.
Well, even like some of the, especially like the cowboys that work on some of the great big ranches that like don't get to town, but once or twice. I mean, it cowboying hasn't changed in that regard. Like one
I was
like
gonna say
you
it's
know
like Lonesome Dove, where they
yeah. I mean
rarely go
when
into
you get to
town for a
town,
poke.
like well and they get just rip snorting drunk after off of like 4 shots because they've been on the trail for 90 days without anything. It just water and coffee, and then you get three shots of allegedly whiskey, and yeah, who knows what they were actually. I mean, they were probably drinking turpentine laced with acid or some shit. And yeah, and yeah, like I look at some of like our heyday in the heyday of college, some of the benders that we went on, and then I'll listen to some of these other guys talking about like waking up on the res next to like a big 300-pounder, and they have no idea how they got there. Like they like don't have their boots or anything, and this old gal's ready to marry him, and they're just like, what the fuck? Like,
Well, and
I've never been that bad.
I think I've been blackout drunk legit once in my life. It was in high school.
Yeah,
Not even in college. Like I remember bits and pieces, but never
yeah.
just completely blacked out. Yeah, but
There
those
was
dudes fucking do it every night.
yeah, yeah. It's wild. Um, what? Oh, I was gonna say, on going back to all this like censorship bullshit. It is just the irony particularly of Neil Young, who's like one of the protest music
Oh
icons,
yes. First
uh,
Amendment all the way,
free
baby.
speech, and
Oh
like
yeah.
that's one thing is like for whatever how big of a douche Neil Young has always been, I was always respected him because of that. Like I mean, it's hard not to respect those like Vietnam era like the sure enough protest movement that were just like the guys that got hosed down and beat down in Chicago at the during the DNC and like the Kent State people like those guys like
Yeah.
legit
Kent
believed
State,
in
yes.
free speech. And Neil Young was one of the icons of that, and now he's just like, oh no, I don't want to,
Is he,
and it's he didn't outright say he wanted Joe Rogan to be banned, but he didn't want Spotify to
yeah.
to allow disinformation. So, and you considered Joe Rogan disinformation. So, I mean, ipso facto, what you're trying to say is you want Joe Rogan censored.
And what's the manifesto of his show? I mean, does it even like? I'm sure it says somewhere he's a comedian. This is information slash lighthearted show, right? Or he probably has some disclaimer saying he's not an expert, or he has an expert on and he's not an expert. He says it.
What?
Shit, he says it.
All the time, all the freaking time, and yeah, it's just, and he's just a guy with a show. Like it turns out it's the biggest show on earth right now, but he's just a guy with a show, and my God, man, and this is America, where you're supposed to be able to say what the fuck you want.
This is
Because
America.
this is America.
I thought this
Yeah,
was America.
right. And we all are supposed to buy into the idea that like no matter how bad the speech is, you've got to allow it, because who gets to draw the line if you disallow speech? And it's a slippery slope, and we're seeing it right now. And my word. Now Barry Manilow is also pulling his music from Spotify, and Joni Mitchell. I mean, people who are just incredibly relevant and noticed in pop.
Are you really surprised by Joni Mitchell?
No,
Like if somebody
I'm
told me
not,
this,
because she is very relevant in today's day and age.
if somebody told me that story without telling me who was involved, my first two guesses would have been Neil Neil Young and Joni Mitchell.
I honestly didn't know Barry Manilow was still alive. I can't remember the last time I've thought about Joni Mitchell, and honestly, I wasn't all that sure. I wouldn't have been able to tell you if Neil Young was still alive. I would have had to Google it.
Neil Young looks like he lives in Kenosha, in the what's the zone?
The
The
that was Seattle. The Chop.
Speaking of, apparently I heard this on the news today. Apparently there were discussions by the city council talking about how they were going to give control of that area to the Chop, whatever the Chop people. They were seriously thinking about it.
I believe that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's huh.
Like just from a like, maybe we shouldn't do this because this might set a bad precedent. I don't know.
You know what was it was kind of a long play, like irony, like just full circle irony, was when on January 6th anniversary, when all these Democratic congressmen and women were like rushing up to Dick Cheney to shake his hand. Like the same people that called him a war criminal just a short decade ago. I mean, it was beautiful to watch.
Well,
really
and I remember now, like Bush is the darling of the left, and how badly he got treated. Like that.
Well,
I mean,
just like what it was like, hey guy, you're gonna have to take your licks here. But guess what? What happened after Obama took office? Did we end any wars? Oh no, we didn't. We just created a few new ones. And hey, the Republicans, they kind of like they kind of acted like they were against it for a little bit, but they didn't really do anything to stop it. And then what happened when Trump got into office? Oh, like 2 weeks before he was about to leave office, he finally decided to like make legitimate moves towards withdrawing from Afghanistan. But outside of that, no, not much. They just kept on going with him, and now, yeah, Dick Cheney, who was hated.
oh man, he was the Antichrist.
Yeah, and they were right back then. They were right, and yeah, now they're like tripping all over themselves to go shake his hand and show what a good guy he was, because his daughter doesn't like Donald Trump and she voted for impeachment.
Like like he's got any I mean, yes, he raised her, but like he has any influence over her, what political choices she makes.
Oh,
That would that would be like everybody coming up to my dad congratulating him on because I completed a task.
yeah.
Like and nothing to do with it.
Well, and also like as if Dick Cheney. It's one of those what things they can. You're like, see, this is bipartisanship at its finest. When is the last time a Republican was like, you know who I miss? That Dick Cheney. Like, when, when has this last time you heard a Republican just long for the days of Dick Cheney being in office? I'm like, my God, it's
Uh,
been a fun couple of years, buddy.
it's like I'm just fucking. The years are getting longer. Like
You know,
I'm fucking done with 2022 between the boys getting COVID,
yeah,
fucking us getting norovirus, where my wife, well, my poor wife got it the worst. But you're basically throwing up and shitting yourself every 30 minutes. Like I'm fucking done with it. I'm fucking done, Matt.
yeah, it's been a good one. Yeah, what a if you would have asked us when we graduated in 2008,
Mm,
like what would have been the biggest controversy or like one of the biggest news stories beginning 2022, the odds of saying that
2008.
like the odds of somebody like the Vegas odds of somebody saying Neil Young pulls music from Spotify because Joe Rogan is a conspiracy theorist. That would have had to have been like 10 million to 1 on the
Yeah,
odds.
it would be like a Simpsons episode, and then it came
Like you,
true. It's so
they
far out there.
yeah they would have Vegas would have never put a line on that because
No.
there's no way
Mm-mm.
the house can't win that one.
Did you hear the dude? There's some guy who put down $5
Yeah,
and he got the score right and he got the winners right. What did
yeah,
he get? He got something crazy amount.
579,000 I think.
Oh, good for you, man.
I put a bet in on the Bengals. I think week 15. They were at
Yeah.
it was like plus 1,700. So I put $10 on them. I'll win 170 if they win.
I'm surprised I haven't done that. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna try to get us sponsored by my bookie, and let's start a sports gambling show.
Wait, you have a bookie?
No, it's a website.
Oh,
It's
damn it.
like
I thought you had a bookie named Sal.
no. I wish I want an Italian bookie. I like. There's surely some Italians that listen to this. If you got a bookie, but a nice bookie. I don't want to get my kneecaps broke.
Yeah. Just somebody who's not rude and really
I,
listens to what I'm trying to say.
and I will do ad reads for your cover operation. You know your front.
I have been watching a
Uh,
lot of Scorsese movies lately.
me and Ro are, I think we're fourth season of Sopranos, and we had never watched it before, so like I'm thoroughly enjoying James Gandolfini. God,
Oh,
that
isn't
dude
he
is
good?
good. He's so
Yeah.
good. His wife Carmela is so like obnoxious but hot at the same time.
You know what? I think isn't that a theme in all kind of mafia movies though? Like
Uh,
think of Goodfellas, Sharon,
yeah,
like big pain in the ass, but
yeah,
good looking.
yeah.
Uh Trying to think good Casino, fucking Sharon Stone's
Casino,
fucking
yeah.
nuts. She's fucking
Oh,
drug addict,
she's
but
absolutely nuts.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
good.
super hot.
Well, and then like yeah, Godfather. There was yeah, like
See,
What
yeah,
also the guys are pieces of shit too. I mean, like,
yes, they are.
They're the Gumas.
Yeah. Like, having said that, they are womanizers
Yes,
in the
having said that,
movies.
there's some real pieces of shit.
Yes, yeah, but it's so you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Oh yeah,
It's like
Skylar.
Skylar. You
Skylar is the worst fucking character of all time. I hate her so much.
and you shouldn't. Like she's married to a dude who becomes a meth dealer and then
For
basically
his
holds her
family.
hostage. Yeah. Like, but like you hate them. Even though
Yeah.
they are the victim. I don't know
Oh,
what it is. It's just like, gosh, even my
I
even
I'm
my
a
wife
I'm a I'm a huge fan of the anti-hero.
and yeah, oh me too. Me too, man.
Yeah, I like Walter White, Howell Heisenberg, James Gandolfini, fucking the Punisher. Yeah, I
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm anti-hero all the way.
You know what? Speaking of the greatest anti-hero of all time, William Money in
Oh
Unforgiven.
yeah. Yeah.
They I I've written to or not written, I've tweeted Clint Eastwood at least 10 times, maybe nine out of 10. I was hammered.
Mhm.
But just before you go, please write a prequel to Unforgiven 2 and have your son star in it where William Money is just where he's just vicious, blowing up trains and shit like, you know, that whole it needs to happen. It's got to happen.
Okay.
We should
Uh
start a petition.
before we go into the Patreon, I want to play this video. I'll see if it'll play, but this was so funny. It was trending number 3 on Twitter this afternoon, and the trending topic was Golden Corral.
Is it another stripper with a monkey video?
Almost that level of ridiculousness.
Well,
There
I,
was
I
a
can't fathom anything else better.
there was a brawl that broke out at a Golden Corral in Philly.
What?
And like a legit, like they were throwing high chairs and shit
In a Golden Corral?
and a Golden Corral. And apparently, one of the speculations is that somebody was real pissed because they ran out of steak.
You know what? It must have been after 6 because there's no way senior citizens are starting to brawl in a Golden Corral because that's the only place to eat.
Well,
It's got to be after 6.
let me. Where is it at?
Because there was no more steak.
Yeah, that's what I. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
First of all, seek some help if one of your big problems is that you don't have any more steak at the local Golden Corral. I don't think it's going to be prime, we'll say.
No, it's not going to be prime. You're getting just old canner cows at that point. My word.
What are canner cows?
Just old cows that they're not good for breeding anymore.
So basically a Tim cow?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Old and tough and don't want your daughter
Old
near
and
him.
tough. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, nailed it. Okay. We're gonna pop this up here. Oh no, hold on. I gotta share sound because the commentary. I hope this is the same video. The commentary I heard was hilarious.
Primo.
Yeah. So.
Really? Wait, everybody's fighting, arguing. I thought it was between two guys. It's literally a brawl.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a legit brawl. So, yeah. Now we're getting to the good part here. The commentary. from this fella.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Look at the old white guy running. Oh shit!
Now he's got a table. He's got a fucking table.
Nope, the old fat white guy's back.
Oh. Oh, what was some steak? Oh, my word. Philadelphia, huh?
America, could you be any
America.
prouder?
I mean, we got the Canucks up there protesting peacefully and very well organized for their freedom, and we're fighting over the lack of steak in a Golden Corral.
Well,
You don't
Matt,
got any steak? I'm gonna whack you upside the head with a fucking high chair.
Matt, do better with your ranching. Jesus Christ. Make those cows grow faster. Come on.
I need to. I really need to. Well,
You're not doing it right.
Well, hey, it happens. So
Please write other cowboys. Please write in and tell Matt how he's fucking up his job and how he needs to do it better. Because we need our steak here in the city.
We need the steak. Need the
Tube
steak.
steak.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Well, we'll go into the Patreon and discuss that at a greater length. So, on that note, move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Burn the shit out of it. You know what? I gotta watch that video by myself because it was choppy as fuck. And so